Hey guys, I want to thank you for watching and contributing to the show. Every day I read something about a comedian or a comedy producer that supports censorship. Fuck these people, Patton Oswalt. Comedy is meant to be uncensored. Nothing is off limits, and if the truth hurts your feelings, then too bad. Change the station. Don't tell anyone else what they can or can't say. That's why I created this show, a place to find unfiltered and brutally honest comedy. And since the media running libs would never put this show out there, we did it ourselves. Me and my team, along with your support and contributions. To that end, please consider contributing to the show to keep us going. You can either click the link below this video, or on my website on the top at nickdip.com. You fuel the show, and I appreciate all your generosity. We can't do it without you. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Welcome to the show, folks. On a Tuesday. Great show ahead for you. Don't forget, we'll show you later on today in the show the second part of the Colin Quinn interview. My very funny, very smart, full of wisdom buddy. Just the best. Everybody who meets him loves him. Great guy. I look like I'm 80 today. Anyways, let's get on with it. What do we got? I don't know if you guys remember, do you? Send lawyers, guns and money. Remember that song? By, what's his fucking name? The guy. Why does it always slip? Werewolves in London, you know. Oh my God. I met the guy. I was a bar back. He used to come to the nightclub I worked. I told you that story. I was 21. I was very handsome. He just sold out 4 shows. It's the end of the night. It's 2 in the morning. Everybody's having a drink at the bar. I have to tell this. It sticks out in my mind. I'm wearing my, I was a bar back. Warren Zevon. That was his name. Anyways, end of the night. He's standing here. I'm about 4 feet to his right at the bar. Smoking chick comes up. Fan of his. I don't know. Stands between us. Looks at Warren Zevon and goes, I want your autograph. And then she turns to me and goes, I want your phone number. You know what? He probably hated that because I've had it happen to me now as an old comedian. You were very funny, but I want to meet the guy that opened for you. You mother! Doesn't married. Doesn't matter. I'm married. Boy, I stumbled all over that one. Stupid asshole. All right. Anyways, he had a big song, Send Lawyers, Guns and Money. That's what that whole fucking riff was about. This is called Send Legislation, Guns and Money. Responding to a spate of gun violence in American schools and communities, Ohio Republicans have offered a 2-prong approach. Guns and money. Very American. Very, very American.
Give me the fucking money. You hear me? You hear me? I gotta come here and bust my balls. Give me the fucking money.
That probably sounds like every Republican trying to get money out of Biden for something. Last week, Republican state lawmakers passed legislation that, this is again Ohio, will allow local boards of education to allow teachers to carry a firearm. Up to 24 hours of training must be required, but a board can demand more of its teachers. Should a board opt in, it would need to disclose to parents, what a juvenile society, that one or more school workers are armed.
I'm loving it.
And what if the parents have a problem with it? What are you going to do?
They arm pilots.
Yeah. Do they let us all know before we get a... I'm flying with my sister. She doesn't like guns. Do you mind if we get a different pilot? Shut up! Additionally, lawmakers appropriated $105 million within a broader spending package targeted toward preventing school shootings. And again, you can't. Sorry, hate to be a pessimist, hate to be a realist. It's unpreventable. Back to you, Nick. Of that $100 million goes for grants of up to $100,000 per K-12 school building for security measures. $5 million goes for security at college campuses. Another $12 million over 2 years goes toward a bureaucratic body created, just the word bureaucratic tells me it's not going to work, created as a part of the legislation to allow teachers to carry arms. See what a big deal it is to arm adults, and because half you guys are just so fucking milquetoast, lily, panty waist, poo-poo. I'm not a gun fanatic, folks. I'm not a gun fanatic, but I got 4 of them, so I can see why there's over 400 million in the country. How about the guys that really love them? Both bills are en route to GOP Governor, again, this is Ohio, Mike DeWine, who has indicated he plans to sign them. Well, again, I guess he's doing something. That's my answer. But I want the guys out front. You know what I mean? Arm the teachers too, but you got to have somebody on the exterior of the building. Am I right? You know, set up a perimeter. Democrats who hold little power in the state, House, or Senate argued neither idea takes meaningful, of course not, steps towards limiting access of military-grade weapons to would-be shooters. Again, what do they mean by that? They want to go after, again, it's about the Second Amendment and disarming us. That's exactly what that statement. It's not about protecting the kids. Anyways, fucking Democrats, you get in the way. You're a barnacle on the ass of progress.
Shut up!
As my father used to say. Would-be shooter. And some of the most recent shootings, the perpetrators have purchased weapons lawfully in the immediate build-up to the slaughters. Exactly. Okay, folks. The answer isn't more laws. Do you understand? It's like, I don't care. You could have, on paper, you can protect everything, but that's why we have outlaw. It's just so easy. It's almost too simple, I think. I don't know. Let's move on to another adult. Actually, a relative of adult. Hunter Biden's daughter. Do I get that right? Brokering a deal. Why did I think it was his sister? Daughter. It's even fucking weirder than I thought. Hunter Biden's daughter. Oh, for the love of God. I had this fucking paused. I didn't know. Whatever. Hunter Biden's daughter sarcastically offered to GPO Senator Ron Johnson that she will get her dad, that would be Hunter, to go on the phone with him if Johnson agrees to support tighter gun control law. Another Biden with no brains. Huh? How long does this fucking thing? At Ron Johnson, Wisconsin, if you vote for this is a tweet she sent to him. If you vote for stricter gun control measures, I will personally lick your perineum. What? I will personally come into your office and call my dad on speakerphone. I wouldn't trust her. She's probably there to kill you. So that you can confess your undying love for him directly. Naomi Biden tweeted Wednesday at the Republican lawmaker who has been one of her dad's fiercest critics. Yeah, so you're going to get Hunter on your dad on the phone and talk.
Is this moron number 1?
Yeah.
Put moron number 2 on the phone.
The 28-year-old girl, Naomi, tongue-in-cheek. It was a tongue-in-cheek thing, so we'll give it a little credit. Proposal was in response to the Wisconsin senator's take on legislation that would require a waiting period for gun sales to buyers under age 21. Before we pass anything new, let's enforce the laws we already have. Let's start with Hunter Biden, Senator Johnson wrote, because as you remember, Hunter Biden lied on his thing to get his gun, his application.
Yes, sir.
Johnson was alluding to the allegation that President Biden's son may have committed a felony by not telling the truth on a background check before buying a gun in 2018. According to documents obtained, and Dallas made a great point, I think it was you yesterday, who's going to say, yeah, I am on drugs, or yeah, It's like when, and I made the thing again, when you're on the plane, you fly to another country and they hand out are you bringing any ammunition with you? Poison fruits? Your mistress? According to documents obtained by Politico, Hunter answered no. In response to the question, do you like paying for pussy? No. Are you an unlawful user of or addicted to marijuana or any depressant, stimulant, narcotic drug, or any other control? What, do they know he was coming? Or controlled substance? Oh, my God. Of course, he checked off no, as anybody would.
You're lying. And you're a piece of shit.
This is probably his screensaver on his phone. Hunter's year-long battle with drug addiction has been well documented in the press, and the 52-year-old dad of 5 also detailed his struggles in his memoir, Beautiful Things. What? Which was published last year. The gun that Hunter bought in October 2018 was a .38 revolver, was later thrown in the trash by the president's daughter-in-law, Holly Biden, Hunter's brother, Beau Biden's widow. Again, this guy is a little bit... Look, I wouldn't mind hanging with him for a weekend, as opposed to Mitch McConnell. Johnson has accused Hunter of taking advantage of his access to his powerful dad to enrich himself.
You snotty little bastard.
The U.S. Department of Justice is investigating Hunter over his business dealings in Ukraine. Oh, yeah, they're all over him. Ukraine and China, and also over his taxes. Meanwhile, a bipartisan group of senators led by Cornyn, that's John Cornyn of Texas, who might as well be a Democrat, there's another rhino for you, is working on a compromise bill that would bolster gun safety. Can you imagine? From Texas, right? What the hell happened? Expectations are low that even the most modest gun control measures could find support among Republicans in Congress. Don't be too surprised, particularly in the 50-50 Senate, where at least 60 votes are needed to advance legislation past a filibuster. I'm not so sure about that. Get a lot of rhinos in there. You know, we need a political douching on both. You know, I wouldn't leave any of them. None of them. That's how it's supposed to work, folks. Think about how far we are from that. Isn't it fucking silly? Well, here's another big mouth fucking... Brian Mitchell was always a punk-ass punk. Tough guy, NFL football player. What's the headline? Shut the fuck up, Brian Mitchell. I didn't say that. Hope you ain't a fan of mine. You know who called the show once when I had my radio show in New York? Ironhead Hayward. Remember him? Running back. He's dead now. I think his son played. But anyways, Brian Mitchell, the ripple effects from Jack Del Rio's comments. Jack Del Rio, I remember, this is how old I am. He's a great linebacker at USC, played in the NFL. Then he was a head coach at Carolina, whatever. Many of these expansion. Good football guy is my point. Now he's the defensive coordinator for the Washington Commanders. Can you imagine? Hey, a little note to you guys of fans of mine that might be living in D.C. Don't, and same with the Cleveland Indians. Make your own T-shirts that still say Indians and still say Redskins. Use the words in conversation. Pretend they didn't even change it. What are they going to do, arrest you? Show up at the ballpark. I hope this spreads. This might be an idea that's going to catch on. Pretend it never happened. Show up with your Redskins memorabilia. Anyway, Jack Del Rio, who's white, by the way, comments about the January 6th Capitol riots are starting to show themselves across the NFL's landscape. Here's what he said. Oh, it's so outrageous. I love how when white guys just speak the truth, it's considered outrageous or they're outspoken or whatever. This is all he said. He was responding to a question about January 6th. Go ahead, roll that tape.
Because it's kind of hard for me to say. I can realistically look at it. I see the images on TV. People's livelihoods are being destroyed. Businesses are being burned down. No problem. And then we have a dust-up at the Capitol. Well, there's nothing burned down. And we're not going to talk about, we're going to make that a major deal. I just think it kind of two standards.
Wow.
You are correct, sir.
How outrageous. How outrageous. But Brian Mitchell falls into the category of black people who are so used to bullying white people, because white people never say the truth to guys' faces like Brian Mitchell. He's so used to the linguistic bullying and whatnot, and so used to bullying whites, to not say this, not say that, or you'll get beat up. Well, this is what he's doing with Del Rio. After the Washington Redskins defensive coordinator, I got to practice what I preach, dismissed the attacks a dust-up, which it was. I wouldn't even call it a dust-up. Comparing it to the protests in Minneapolis after George Floyd was killed by police officers, former NFL running back Brian Mitchell, tough guy, no doubt, who played 10 seasons with Washington, laid into the longtime coach during a radio appearance. Because, like I said, he's a black guy, not used to having a white guy just let his point. He didn't even say anything derogatory about race or anything. This is what Mitchell says, and I quote, "Listen, I see a lot of stuff going on with this team right now, and this is where I'm about to go the hell off. And I get so sick of it," Mitchell said on 106.7 The Fan. We have a coach, he's talking about Ron Rivera, by the way. We have a coach who we sit up here and we try to put on a pedestal as he's this disciplinarian, and he got a damn defensive coordinator, meaning Del Rio, who constantly pokes the goddamn bear, okay? Mitchell said, "I care about Rivera getting his damn defensive coordinator in control before somebody beats his ass up."
Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you!
Once again, black man hears something that he can't handle, so threatens violence. Guy with a radio show, by the way. Should have done reverse the races here. Can we add to a white former player? I'm sick of these black dudes smacking around their girlfriends, selling drugs, and giving the NFL a bad name. And anybody who speaks out against that, we're going to kick the shit out of them. Yuck. That's what I care about, says Mitchell. I care about somebody stopping this man from constantly poking his little racial bear. Doesn't he make any sense? He's just ignorant with what he's doing. That's what I care about.
It's so stupid. It's so stupid. So fucking stupid.
By Jack Del Rio disagreeing with the lying narrative, and by speaking what the exact facts are, no investigation into the billions of dollars of damages after the George Floyd's riot, people killed, shot, blah, 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 no investigation by anybody. Fucking couple hundred people, okay, 1,000 show up at the Capitol, take what I call an unguided tour. No weapons. And Jack says, it's a little unfair, no? And this guy says, you're poking the racial bear. He says, and when you have Jack Del Rio, who constantly feels, I can just go out and say whatever the hell I want to say. Yeah, any American can, including you, stupid. Why? He says, because the coach never says anything to him. So now he's blaming Rivera for not having a leash on Del Rio. You got all these issues going on with the Washington Redskins right now, and he's constantly trying to make waves because of stupidity. He's calling Del Rio stupid.
These blacks. Who knows where they're going to take the wrong way?
Yeah, he's so stupid, he's actually had head coaching jobs while you're doing your fucking little radio show nobody's listening to. And then he says, and you wonder why that team wasn't disciplined last year. Because your damn leader that's leading your defense is not disciplined. This is a guy who beat cancer, by the way, Ron Rivera, the head coach. He is the coach of the Redskins, right? I hope I get the right. He says, I give a damn about that. Now, here's what Jack Del Rio lets me down and all Americans who think like him. But I'm sure I'm sure the corporate came down on him, the upper brass of the Redskins. Del Rio later apologized, saying, I made comments earlier today in referencing the attack that took place on the United States Capitol on January 6th, referencing that situation as a dust-up was irresponsible and negligent, and I am sorry. Wink, wink.
No! No, 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 no!
He did, however, say he stood by his comments, condemning violence in communities across the country. You know what community he's talking about. That's right, the Amish. Do you see how they're so used to not hearing the truth, though? We used to do that with, like, comics at the Comedy Cellar. They'd come sit at the table, and, you know, I'd say just like, whatever. Just talking like I talk to you. Fucking eyes would light up. And the white lib comics would be like, Colin would just fucking smirk at me and go, yeah. He knew what time it was. And Patrice would laugh, and Patrice would join in, and that's how it should be. And then everybody would laugh at me and Patrice brutalizing each other. And you know what? You could feel the tension go, whoop. That's how you do it. It's called the dialogue that you guys want to have, but we can't have a dialogue about race if you can't handle things like Jack Del Rio said that are so mild compared to what comes from the other side. Okay. Let's move on to this. Have you guys been following any of the show trial that the Dems are putting on about January 6th? I'll cover just the beginning of it because, like Fox News, who's not covering the trials live, only network, and God bless them, they finally have a backbone. I don't know where it was on election night when they called Arizona for fucking Biden early or whatever. But I love it. They refuse to put this propaganda on the air, and that's all it is. Dem show trial. Wyoming Republican, I'm going to show you clips of the opening. I know it was a few days ago, but I couldn't stomach it. I was telling Dallas, literally, I was getting like goosebumps. It was weird. Like watching, I felt like I was watching a movie written. You know how when you go to movies, you could, the liberals wrote this, everything, the white guy's bad, Republicans are hanging people. I felt like I was watching that, but it wasn't a movie. This is actually happening in our government. They are so desperate, the Democrats. Biden has fucked everything up and the people on him so bad that they have to put this on to distract you away from record inflation and every fucking thing else he's fucked up. From leaving Kabul to everything. They have to they got nothing. Midterms are 5 months away. So they're hoping you dummies, and there are plenty of them, because I still CNN still on the air, and MSNBC. Anyways, this is a couple of the opening remarks. Wyoming Republican, Liz Cheney.
She's a malignant cunt.
Oh, is she ever? Alleged Thursday that then-President Donald Trump said during last year's Capitol riot that Vice President Mike Pence, get this, folks, deserves to be hanged as Trump supporters chanted, hang Mike Pence. This is her saying what was going down. Go ahead.
You will hear that President Trump was yelling and, quote, really angry at advisors who told him he needed to be doing something more. And aware of the rioters' chants to hang Mike Pence, the president responded with this sentiment, quote, maybe our supporters have the right idea. Mike Pence, quote, deserves it.
You never looked heavier.
I hope that's a true story. I love that story. What I heard today on the way to work, Bill O'Reilly apparently had sources that day at the Capitol. So he says, Glenn Beck, he really is funny, that Trump froze for like an hour and 40 minutes, not knowing what to tell the supporters. First of all, he told them, remember at the beginning, go in peace or whatever, go home. Remember? Never told him to fucking riot or whatever. But he froze when things were he was getting texts from Hannity and a few other close people saying you got to do something, which kind of disappoints me. I would have been texting going, hey, this ain't I don't see a gun out there. Fire these people up. Guys, folks, they didn't have any guns. The so-called rioters had no guns. And I'm watching CBS yesterday. A news guy at CBS repeats that 5 cops died during the riot, during January 6th, which is an out-and-out fucking lie. Nobody was killed with a fire extinguisher. That guy had a stroke a couple hours later. None of these fucking places retracted it, apologized. They run all over the law without getting arrested. They can say whatever they want in public without getting arrested. It is fucking, and you wonder why half the country's brainwashed. Ugh, what this? Her father was Dick Cheney. He's kind of a right-winger, no? What happened? She fucking hates Trump. So Trump must have pissed off her father or something, or her. Cheney, the vice chair of the House Select Committee, told you we shouldn't give him the vote. Investigating January 6, 2021 riot, laid out the claim during her opening statement at the committee's first primetime hearing, which was highlighted by a 10-minute video tracing the course of the violence as it unfolded, soundtracked by increasingly frantic radio communications from Washington, D.C. and the U.S. Capitol Police. Cheney also claimed that over multiple months, Donald Trump oversaw and coordinated a sophisticated 7-part plan to overturn the 2020 presidential election. Here's a guy they claim was so stupid he wasn't fit to be president, but he put together a 7-point plan in a coup, election and prevent the transfer of presidential power. In our hearings, you will see evidence of each element of this plan. Do you realize Miss Liz Cheney and the rest of you jerk-offs on that panel, Adam Kinzinger, do you realize that there's a movie out called 2,000 Mules that proves Donald Trump was robbed? He was absolutely right. And you're lucky the Capitol's still standing, in my opinion. On the morning of January 6, President Donald Trump's intention was to remain the President of the United States, despite the lawful outcome, wrong, of the 2020 election. We know it was stolen, and in violation of his constitutional obligation to relinquish power, Cheney went on. I'll say it again, 2,000 Mules, folks. Watch it, 2,000 Mules. The Congresswoman's opening statement was more detailed than the one read by this guy who's illiterate, by the way, Chairman Rep. Benny Thompson, Democrat, Mississippi, who spoke in broken English broadly about the events of January 6, 2021, and his perspective on them. I wonder if he's going to mention anything about slavery. Let's go.
From a part of the country where people justify the actions of slavery, the Ku Klux Klan, and lynching, I'm reminded of that dark history as I hear voices today try and justify the actions of the insurrectionists on January 6, 2021.
Comparing it to, oh boy. When you see a guy like it, you realize how much the Democrat Party, how evil they are, that they play a guy like this, Can't you see Pelosi going, we got Benny Thompson. Cheney further alleged that a December 19, 2020 tweet by Trump that read, "Big protests in D.C. on January 6th. Be there. Will be wild." Set in motion the riot. Prove it. On that day, Trump addressed thousands of supporters near the White House before urging them to march on the Capitol to pressure Pence. It's not what he said. He said be peaceful if you're going up there or whatever. To pressure Pence and Republican lawmakers to reject swing state electors for Joe Biden, which they should have done now that we look at it. Cheney promised that during public committee hearings, you will hear about members of the Trump cabinet discussing the possibility of invoking the 25th Amendment and replacing the President of the United States, and accused the 45th President of doing nothing to help relieve besieged members of Congress on that day. Half of them who claim they were there and weren't, like Kamala Harris, fucking AOC. Dude. Anyways, that's it for the hard news. As you know, yesterday we ran part 1 of my interview with the great Colin Quinn, and we'll close out today's show by showing you part 2. Here's me and the great Colin Quinn. Take it away. You were in Salt Lake City recently doing comedy at a place called Wise Guys, which I did about a year and a half ago. And I wanted to ask you how that went and if you used my magic underwear line to break the ice on those people.
Well, first of all, Salt Lake City has the best German deli called Bosen's. It's a bakery deli. It's the best place I've ever been in my life.
I went there. I liked the food, but I didn't care for the decor. They had a stack of baby shoes and some false teeth on the counter. I thought that was in bad taste. But anyways, go ahead.
It's the best. And I'm sure they'll appreciate that promo.
I got a lot of... Look, I think, you know who? I think Mitt Romney's cousins watch your show.
But yeah, it's great. You know how it is when you do comedy anywhere.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see if stuff works in all places because it does speak to what we're talking about, and so you feel like reassured when you want to talk about these heavy subjects about, human nature and what is the nature of government or what is the nature of compromise or what is the nature of leadership. You go to places like that, but you have to make them laugh. Nobody wants to hear philosophical ramblings without laughs if you're a comedian.
Well,
So when I make them laugh, I feel great.
What are you talking about? Apparently you haven't heard of this woman, Janine Garofalo. This fun. She wows him at the... that's exactly what you're talking about. Colin, listen, let me just, for you folks, I know you all know Quinn because you're my fans and whatever. But all of us, me included, look up to this guy. Year after year, he puts out an hour. And this is what I was talking about. He's sort of a sociologist / psychologist. It's not what the rest of us are doing. He's analyzing. He'll do some political stuff, but he digs deeper than that. He goes into the psychology of the people behind it back in 17, whatever the hell. And it has to be. It has to be. Luckily, you're at a stage where you don't have some local guy go up before you. But comedy, like he just said, they don't want to hear you waxing philosophical when they have 4 drinks in them. But he somehow he does it so well. And well, the people that come out because they know they're going to get smart comedy. I'm not trying to kiss your ass.
Half of them do.
Huh?
Half of them do.
And the other half.
But it's another half you got to worry about.
Yeah, Tim Gage's fans. That's his opener. I think they could train all over the country to see Tim. So that's what the rest of us look at Colin and go, and seriously, he puts out a new hour and he goes, oh, he's getting better. That takes a lot of. Are you still going to the cellar and working this shit out? Where do you go?
Yeah, I go to the cellar all the time because that, like you, as we both know, if you're not doing it, you know what I mean? You're probably the only guy, I mention this all the time, I go, the only person that I've seen that can actually write on stage on their feet and come out with great jokes is Nick Paolo, because nobody else could do that. You know what I mean?
Well, trust me. And I've been trying to do that since I got to Savannah with mixed
you
results.
actually can't. Other people try, they can't.
With mixed
So, I mean,
results.
that's a sign of genius.
No, it's a sign it's a sign of a guy that can't get disciplined and sit down and actually fucking. I can't enjoy anything. I'm teaching myself. I've never had a hobby. I'm teaching myself guitar, electric guitar, and I absolutely love it. But maybe this is my Catholic upbringing. While I'm doing it, I'm going. I could have a new 2 hours or whatever. As I'm playing, I'm not even enjoying the guitar that I fucking love.
Yeah, I know we're plagued by it.
But, don't. You sit down and do it.
You got to get a hobby like it, because I keep my hobby. I incorporate the exercise for cardio.
Yeah.
I've taught myself Irish step dancing in the past year, and the neighbors complain. But once they saw my outfit, they're like, "Nope, we're in too."
We have to see this.
He can't do it. He's in a wheelchair right now. You don't know that. He's like Governor Abbott from Texas. I didn't know that motherfucker was in a wheelchair. Did you? Yeah. I didn't know until one of the cartel was dragging him behind a Jeep down on the border. Anyways, what is this? What's the thread of your latest hour? It's sort of what you were alluding to. People's personalities.
It's about it's about a few things, but one of them is how societies form. Because I was in Salt Lake City, so I started thinking about Brigham Young. So I've actually changed my whole hour since last week, the theme, which is societies form. So you got Brigham Young, right? So you got Brigham Young. His whole thing was what? He's going to take these people and bring this Mormon thing. They killed the head guy, Joseph Smith.
Yes,
Joseph. So he's got to bring him to Utah.
Yeah.
So he's got to figure out how to break everybody down on the trek. So the quiet people, the guys that are just walking by themselves, are going to be the farmers. And then when they show up, and then the guys that'll play and grab ass and pushing each other are going to be the construction people, build all the barns and the houses. The guys that are kind of loud and raucous. Yeah. And then the people that are just like going along but worried will be like the bureaucracy. They're like, when he asks them, how's it going? They're like, it's going. And then I do the engineers, and then I do the whole thing about how you break the wife thing, I guarantee he didn't tell his wife or anybody else about the 50 wives until they got close, until they were like too late to turn back. And then his wife's like, I knew it. I knew you were up to something. And then he probably said, how would you know it when I just had the vision last night? Even I didn't know this was part of it.
You hear what he
So it's like, I go through a whole thing with that.
That's what his stand-up involved, that type of, I'm sitting home last night, go to my wife, what's funnier, the word cum or goo gobbler? Not that I'm all dirty, but...
No, you're underselling yourself. You know,
I curse too much.
You shouldn't have you actually shouldn't be saying that because you are known as one of the most respected comics ever. Everybody knows you're brilliant. And I don't want people to go see you and think like, hey, I'm going to make fun of this guy. I'm part of his act. Listen to the master when he speaks.
Yeah, I got much better at that, Colin. Colin used to, I'm almost a little embarrassed the last few years the way I went down at the cellar because they wouldn't laugh and I go, you fucking liberal faggots. And I remember coming off the stage, Goldman goes, is that how it works? They don't laugh when they're liberal faggots? And I went, yeah, that is.
No, I didn't object to that. I objected to that you would open. That was your opener.
It was.
He would go on stage and go, I don't know why I drove all the way down here for you liberal NYU lesbian flat ass fucking asshole.
I would say, I
swear to God, that was his opener.
I know. I would say I was in a good mood when I left my house in Westchester. I go, as soon as I get to the village, I see a 40-year-old guy on a skateboard with a fucking Hello Kitty book bag, and I want to fucking kill somebody. And that was my opening, and they were all like, why, what's the matter with that old man?
Well, I'll tell you, one time we were driving back, me and Nick driving back. So we're driving back to, he was dropping me off. I lived in Midtown. He lives in Westchester. And we're driving back, and so we get to by Radio City, and the cops pull him over. Whoop! He ran a red light.
Yep.
And what you don't remember is early in that trip, you were like, I gotta be careful, red light. I go, they never give tickets. You forgot I said that. Maybe you remember. And then, so I was hoping you remember. So just as he pulls up, a Radio City show lets out, and this is like 1999. Thousands of people are pouring out of this concert. Yep. And they're all in front of his car, but it's a Fish concert.
Right.
And Nick was sitting there waiting for the ticket. The guy's right in the back. Nick's fuming, but he can't do anything. And his kid's going, hey, man. And he goes, what is this? I go, it's Fish. I'll kill him. It was always like hippie. It was so funny.
You're forgetting the best part, though. Quinn goes to me, you don't remember this? This is where I thought you were going with this.
Yeah.
Well, we're sitting there waiting for the cop calls. Like, don't worry about it. I know a lot of the cops.
Oh, yeah.
Guy sticks his head in. There you go, you dumb giddy. Fucking walks away. I look at Colin. What the fuck was that?
Yeah, the guy looked in. He didn't even know who the hell I was.
I might as well have been with Gage. It was unbelievable. Hey, look, Colin. Hey, Hope.
Oh, boy.
Celebrating my third wife's death. My big Chinese fella pull me over.
You really gone native, huh?
Oh, God, look at that. Nobody down here even, honest to God, nobody's even blinked. I go to the same bar all the time.
Well, they're like, hey, where'd you get those other 31, you cheater?
I'm sitting there like this, waiting for somebody to notice. Nobody says shit. Well, I only got a couple more minutes. We're breaking this up so, I can put it on a few other shows. Last guest we had was, who was it? We had Earl Weaver's daughter. She was 76.
Oh, that would be interesting.
Before we go, I wanted to hit on what else. Why are you such a big Billy Crystal fan? I don't get his comedy. Colin had a birthday yesterday, by the way, right?
Yeah, 2 days ago.
No, you're 3 years older than me, right?
I'm 63.
Yeah, that's correct. All right, that ain't that bad. So why do you hate... so I sent him pictures of... There's 3 movies that send him through the fucking roof. Like, literally, I can feel him getting upset from Manhattan. And if I see one, I'll take a pic. Mrs. Doubtfire makes him mentally ill. When Harry Met Sally might be #1 enemy on the list, right? And,
yeah.
And Steve Martin's Cheaper by the Dozen.
Cheaper by the Dozen.
He fucking, you should hear his, we got to have you do a critique.
Cheap by the Dozen 2 was better. It was like The Godfather 2. It's a little bit, no, it was, but meanwhile, Nick doesn't even realize these movies. If he watched them, if he had to watch them more than once, he watched them in a daze maybe, but if he had to watch them, he would go fat. One of my dreams in life is to have him strapped down to one of those Barker lounges and make him watch like probably My Life in Ruins, which is a Nia Vardalos movie.
Oh, God.
What are the other? There's like 6 of them that are they just go for the corny thing right away.
The big,
but yeah, I would say Harry Met Sally bothers me because everybody loves it. People to this day go, that's one of the greatest movies ever.
I know.
And that's what drives me crazy is it's just,
I know.
Everybody likes it. And it drives me nuts.
Me and Andy were on vacation in St. Martin. You know, we're staying in a rented house, and you find like this is back in the '90s VHS tapes, and you're kind of happy. There's nothing to do on the island. You know, it's like fucking midnight. We pop in My Big Fat Greek Wedding. It ruined the last 4 days of my vacation. It was so bad. I was tossing and turning on the beach, going Tom Hanks couldn't have had anything to do with it. Fucking worse. That's it. Before I go, Norm Macdonald. I know it, but don't. I physically miss him. Like I miss him like I miss Trump's. You know what? When he does his rallies, it was like a comedy special every couple months. But Norm, huh? I mean, you spent a lot of time with Norm.
Yeah, I did a speech, like a little eulogy at this thing, memorial for him. Yeah. And one of the things I told was, which Norm, every time. And like one time we went into an elevator and we did some casino gigs together, And then we went in an elevator like 3 years ago and it was 10 in the morning. And there's all these soccer moms and us in the elevator. And he goes, hey, ladies, you're here, do a little gambling. They're like, oh, yeah. He goes, like, convention. He goes, yeah. They were like laughing, Out in the back of the elevator, he goes, yeah, that's what you're supposed to come here for. I like to gamble. They're like, yeah. They didn't know him or anything. And he goes, yeah. Some guys like, that guy's here for the prostitutes. And just points to me. Turn around like this. Oh, and I just stand there. What can you say?
Just setting you up beautifully. Miss him. I'm so sad.
Yeah.
And then Colin sends me, right after he passed away, Colin sends me this, pulls it off at Twitter. Some guy goes, tough month for comedians. We lost 2 legends, Norm Macdonald, Bob Saget.
Yeah.
That says it all. Quinny, thank you so much. Always there when I need you.
Of course.
And I'm coming up to New York to the grand premiere of Louis' movie.
When?
At the end of the month. So I hope you have you still have that Murphy bed in your kitchen.
Yeah. Definitely. I should be around.
I have to. You probably won't be. You'll be working on your one-man show. But yeah, I'll hit you up, and yeah, that's it.
All right.
Thank you so much, Colin, as usual.
Love you, man.
Soon. We'll talk to you.
See you, brother.
All right, buddy. Thank you. The great Colin Quinn, everybody. That is it, ladies and gentlemen, for Tuesday. I want to thank my great guest, of course, the great Colin Quinn, and thank you guys. Don't forget to sign up at comicsgym.com, patreon.com, and cameo.com if you want me to roast a friend or relative. Go to cameo.com and click on the profile. It'll explain to you how it's done. I'll make a little recording. It's fun. People like it. That is it. You guys thinking I'll say it? You're very welcome. See you back here tomorrow at the same time. Have a nice day.